Hey friends, Drew here at the Sawmill Grill in Oxford, Pennsylvania, and want to introduce you to two of my friends here. This is Jeff and Corey of the Sanders team, and beautiful day here in Oxford, having a good time. You know, from time to time we like to bring you some interviews with some of our strategic partners, and in this case we have a couple based realtors, married couple in real estate together, both of you agents. We were having a very interesting conversation at lunch here today about what's going on in this crazy marketplace that we have last year, this year, and a unique phenomenon that I actually wasn't aware of, where it's becoming really challenging, you were telling me, for someone who's trying to buy a house and sell a house at the same time. That really hasn't happened in this area in anyone's recent memory. So I would love for you guys to share with our fans and followers here just a little bit about the challenge that you're seeing, and if you have any suggestions for solutions. So explain to folks first what's going on. Why is it so hard to get hold of a property if you're trying to sell something but also buy a house at the same time?
It's as simple as this, as a listing agent, when we review offers and everything like that, the one thing we're looking to minimize is contingencies. Do they have the home to sell? Do they have inspections? Do they have another addendum, attached? And it's immediately stigmatized when you see that, contingency versus another one that may be less money, but it doesn't have contingencies. You're like, well, that's a cleaner offer. That's smooth. That's going to lead to no issues, no hiccups.
So if I put myself in the seat of the seller of the house, and I'm looking at offers for people who buy my house, we're looking for offers that have the least amount of mud in the water, that have the least risk of falling apart halfway through this deal a couple weeks down the road. And so anytime there's a contingency, like waiting for that buyer's previous home to sell,
that's the biggest one.
That's a huge hiccup for a potential hiccup. Okay, keep going.
So here's the crazy part about it is we have such low inventory that every home is literally selling as long as it's priced reasonably. So why is a home sale contingency a bad thing if that person's going to be able to sell their home no problem in order to buy your home? So it's kind of
an oxymoron because there's such low inventory. Homes are not sitting on the market long. So if you have a home to sell and you're trying to buy a home, we're still recommending that you sell your home before you go put an offer on a home to buy, because sellers just don't want to wait for you to sell your home. So that is interesting though for a lot of people, because they're afraid of, well, where am I going to go? I sold my home and now I don't have a home. So, there's a couple ways you can do this. Is you can ask for a delayed settlement. So meaning like, hey, we're going to push it out 60 days. So that gives you a good 30 days to really find a home, put an offer in, and do a 30-day closing.
Double the time you would normally get.
So you're giving yourself a little extra time. Or if the buyer that's coming into your home is flexible enough, you can have that option of a rent back. So not everybody who's looking to buy your home has a home to sell. They might be renting, they might be living with family. So sometimes we're also looking for a really flexible buyer versus one that has a home to sell. Like if I have a seller who's looking to buy a home, and the person who wants to buy their home needs to sell a home, that's not necessarily a bad thing, because they're both trying to
If they have a unique situation and they have a unique situation, that's how we're actually making things work in this market.
Everybody needs a little extra time.
So in a rent-back situation, that's a term I hadn't heard before. So I'm going to sell my house. The new person, Corey's going to buy my house. She owns the house now. You're going to rent it to me, and I'm going to pay rent on a month-by-month basis to live in the house that I just sold to you until I find.
That's still my own home.
Okay.
You don't have to move out. You just have to pay rent.
You just have to pay rent to the new owner. So that'll also give you the time to buy the next house. You're not worried about selling your house anymore. You have a really clean offer.
So if you have the option, then the other thing we talked about, I think I heard you say, was that if I have the option to move my stuff into storage, get into my parents' basement or my brother's basement or wherever, get myself some other temporary short-term housing, make my house even that much easier to sell because it's move-in ready, all my stuff's out, you can have listings whenever you want, that could also help expedite my process of when it comes time to buy my house, I'm financially in a position to do so. I don't have any things that are going to hold up my offer, and there's a few risks and a few hiccups in the way. Do I have that about right?
Yes, and the perk of if you have the ability to live with family or live somewhere else where you're not paying for it. That's also an extra opportunity to pile up a little extra cash that you can put towards that next purchase. So,
and get that down payment up. And sometimes you want to put that money towards repairs. Sometimes you want to increase that down payment so your mortgage payment is smaller. That makes the monthly, upkeep of the house much more manageable financially. Awesome. Anything else that we need to cover on this topic to really help people understand how to get your dream home in this market when things are moving just so fast?
You got to be flexible. You got to be ready to take action and to trust your realtor.
Yeah, to have a realtor that knows the tricks that are getting it done. And, one of the newest ones we're talking about is putting a non-refundable deposit down. So if I'm going to write
skin in the game.
So if I'm going to put, say, $20K down, I'm going to put $15K down, and then I'm going to write a $5K check to the seller directly, saying,
"This is yours.
This is yours if we walk away."
Okay.
We can't do anything about it. It's a check for them.
Okay.
And waiving transfer taxes, and of course we've beaten to death the waiving of inspections, and how when I first got into real estate 4 years ago, rule number 1 was never waive inspections, and 2 years later it's rule number 1, waive inspections.
inspections.
I mean, it really is a roller coaster of a market. And then we added in the interest rates in the last year. Just it's like they took the roller coaster apart and put another loop-de-loop in. It's just like, how are we supposed to keep up?
And the other thing too is it's a moving target. The market is changing day by day. So what the market is right now, it might be totally different in a month. You just got to hang in there. You got to get connected to realtors who are going to keep you up to date and who are going to be honest with you and who are going to help you along every step of the way. And that's what we do.
So, and is there an option with the waiving of inspections? It's still nice for the homeowner, for the new owner, to know what it is within my house. So I can waive the home inspection contingency.
Correct.
It's not contingent on the home inspection, but can I still have the opportunity to do the home inspection just for my own knowledge in case, I need to do this, I really want to do it before I move all my furniture and stuff in. And the home inspector, is it still worth hiring the home inspector even if the offer is not contingent upon having repairs made?
I'm going to say yes, as long as the seller is amiable and they understand the buyer cannot back away or terminate the contract because of something found on the inspection.
We have a meeting tomorrow with a lawyer that's going to discuss all subjects, inspections, because realistically, some states are seller states, some states are buyer states. Pennsylvania is a buyer state.
Okay.
The buyer can pull his offer for a myriad of reasons.
Okay.
Now, if they get the inspection for informational purposes only, find something they don't like, don't tell anybody that they didn't like it, and say, the financing fell through, or we changed our mind, like
we
the
accidentally
location.
bought a car.
Yeah, or something like that.
Right.
They still have the power as the buyer and the seller.
They can back out for another reason, and
they can back out for no reason.
Okay.
Yeah, and so how do we then protect the seller from them backing out for the information?
So if you're representing the seller, then you might still frown upon that kind of offer, or the seller might frown.
And that's what we're trying to figure out, what kind of legal grounds we have to bind them by that. Because
so
it's happening.
Maybe it's going to get to the point where they're going to buy the house and they're going to hire the home inspector to come in the day of closing.
After the
closing is done, and do that walkthrough.
You can do that. You own that house. You can still go have an inspection be done on it, so you can know.
The home inspection is still a valuable service. You want to know what's going on before you get in, and some things are easier to fix before you got it all full of your furniture. But let's find that out on the front end. Even if you're not being contingent upon it, at least it's still worth getting that done. Having someone look in the attic, see how much insulation's up there. Are the baffles open? Are you getting good airflow? All those things that we talk about in our channel here about protecting, maintaining, and improving your forever home. You're buying a new place. If you've watched all our videos, you know some of what to look for, but those home inspectors, they do it all day, every day. They're trained, and maybe that's something we need to do is actually get a home inspector on this channel and talk about this.
The home inspector we used was a former contractor.
Well, there you go.
So that's why we trust him.
When guys like me retire, right?
You have a field you can move into. You don't have to lift heavy things anymore. You just look to see if it was built. Built right, or Coke built,
Now we're talking about, offering some sort of a home coaching service where we coach clients who, maybe they hired the cheapest guy they found and they want somebody to come back behind and just kind of look and see what's going on before they write that final check, We're having this conversation. So tell people, how do they get in touch with you if they want to learn more about the Sanders team? What's a good phone number to reach you guys at? What's your website?
Sure. We have separate phone numbers. But the easiest way to get in contact with us is on our website. It's the SandersTeamRealty.com. There is a number there that will call us both at the same time. But if you want my number is 610-864-4014.
Easy, fellas.
Feel free to reach out anytime.
She's taken. All right.
Any of your numbers.
That's it. It's the Sanders team. This is Drew and Jeff and Corey here at the Sawmill Grill in Oxford, Pennsylvania. Thanks so much for joining us here today. We'll catch you guys on the next edition of Forever Home.
See ya.
Bye for now.
See you guys.